once you have 3 months of that, like of that over a 75 every day average,
True.
you will get denied. And like people get really upset about that. Like I think people think they're special and they're gonna get it right away. And I'm like, ooh, I think that's why we have such a big hit. Like I've had like 3 people that like put in. I'm like, yeah, they deny it the first time, like guaranteed 110%. People are like, no, I don't believe in it. I'm like, all right, well.
I think a lot of people like how down to earth this show is. Sorry if anyone out there disagrees, but I think that's part of it. Not to bash anyone else that's out there creating content for streamers, but I know a couple of them are really realistic. But let's face it, the money.
Haircut.
Oh, thank you. I did. It was sketch. I had to go out to the real world and do it. Had to wear a mask the whole time, which was cool. I was fine with it. But interesting to get your hair cut with a mask on. It's very weird. But I was gonna say, like, I think that's the compliments we've gotten on this show is there's money to be made in telling people they can do anything when they actually can't. And we don't tell people what they can't do because I don't know what you can't do, but I'm going to tell you how the world works as I see it. Like, if you have a different or better experience, great. But I think you and I aren't going to lie and be like, no, all you got to do is put hypes in chat and you're guaranteed to get partner. We're like, no. These are the steps. This is the good, the bad. Hi, Pagan, what's up? This is how it works, and this is how we've seen it be. If it's different for you, even better. Hopefully it's easier.
Yeah, I don't like lying to people. I'll be straight up and like, but people do not like to hear lies, man. And like,
truth,
they're okay with it. But the thing is, like, you're gonna get beat down. I mean, literally everyone, I think, after the first partnership application has a dip in viership for being kind of bummed from it, and then grows back up.
That's me when I got partnered. Hi, Adrian. How you doing tonight? Welcome aboard. We are going to get started here in just a little bit. We've got a lot to cover tonight. It's going to be primarily focused on the Twitch Advisory Council. We are going to wrap up with a listener email if we have time to do that. And we've got a question in here about using emotes in other people's chats. So there's a lot to do. And also, Nate, we forgot. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, so not really forgot. But we still have stats to review at some point. But that can wait till any day. This stuff is timely. Mateo, Freddie, Prince, welcome aboard, everybody. Look at the turnout tonight. We just had a big mod meeting like a minute ago, like an hour ago, something like that. So I got to rally the troops for everything. Do you want to dive right into it?
Let's just jump right into it.
Okie dokie. Let's press this record button. Do I have my backup one on? I just don't want to make sure this screws up or anything, but at least we have YouTube recording, so. Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a new episode of the Path to Partner podcast. My name is Kyle, and I'm joined here by my co-host, as always, Nate. How you doing this week, man?
I'm fantastic. Put in, hopefully, my last partnership application. It's been a little bit of a process, but we're like 4 months without having a stream under 98 average. So I'm having a pretty good feeling about it. So
that's
fingers crossed.
Very good. Congratulations on that one. For serious, that is a heck of a goal to hit, and you've been working very hard. But maybe we all get some excitement next week, because next week is Greymore launch for those Elder Scrolls Online players out there. I know Nate and I will be going hard. Front page day on the 26th. That's going to be absolutely wild. Bethesda's going to be hosting people, so if you guys are by the Bethesda stream, I know my stream's up there. I think it's 1 p.m. Pacific time on the Twitch homepage on Tuesday, the 26th. So that'll be one interesting hour for any audience listeners out there that want to see what it's like to get homepage day when you're not usually pulling those sort of numbers. Come on over, because you're going to get to see that experience unfold in front of you. My mods are prepared.
It's like, I think like Ninja got like 15,000 last year. Yeah. It depends on what time and like where they want to put you in their carousel.
Correct.
If they put you in the smack dab in the center of it, it's legit. Like could be like 15,000 people in your chat. It's crazy.
I think I must have been like front and center last year, because I had 11,500 I think last year, which was crazy. But just today, like you just said, if you get in the side slots of the carousel, I saw one guy that only had like 230. I mean, that's a great average viewership. Don't get me wrong. 230 is nothing to bat an eye at, but considering his homepage and everything, those numbers come and go and they change. So it is what it is, and we'll see what happens. It'll be very interesting, but very cool time to check out Nate and I's stream next week, because we'll just be doing lots of crazy stuff. So join us for the fun. And now my my warning to you all. So today's episode is going to be talking about the Twitch Advisory Council, something you may or may not have heard a lot about. You may be wondering what's going on with it, so I am going to try to give you the most cursory overview while we do our typical debating with it and just kind of talking and mulling over ideas. So for those that don't know, Twitch came out this past week here saying that they're creating this Twitch Safety Advisory Council. It's featuring some streamers, like Co-Carnage is on there. They've got some doctors on there that are consulting with the board, basically to help. We all know, let's not beat around the bush, Twitch has a really bad reputation when it comes to banning. Equally, they tend to, the moneymakers get unbanned right away. Smaller streamers get banned permanently with no real recourse to get unbanned a lot of the times, as we've seen. Even people in the ESO directory have had that. Angry Wolf last summer got smacked for no apparent reason, and it took weeks to get unbanned. It's a very, unlevel playing field based on how popular you are, and it's been a really bad look for the company for a long time. So Twitch has been working on transparency. I think we may have mentioned last time that I got a partner manager at Twitch, thankfully, recently, which goes to show they are actually hiring more staff. Very desperate thing they've needed to do. We've talked about this before. Lots of, empty positions and stuff, and people left partner managerless. But today is a very unfortunate tale about one of their members that goes by the name of Ferociously Steph. And we're not here to rag on this person. She identifies as transgender, and there's also something in her stream, she talks about identifying as a deer, and I'm not here to pass judgment on any of that. I mean, for those that don't already know, as a guy that identifies as a gay male, I'll speak a little bit more on that if it makes you comfortable, Nate, the whole, the transgender aspect of it. I'll take a little bit of that when we go into this and try and represent that angle a bit. But this isn't necessarily a thing about her, how she identifies, but rather her direct actions in accordance to be placed on this council. It's pretty scary when it comes to the power struggle. How about that for a setup, Nate? Did I do okay?
Yeah, that's good. I mean, the big thing is there's some topics I clearly don't know anything about, especially being a straight white male. So there's some things I'm comfortable speaking about, any of the other topics that are going to be here, because I do believe in equality, and I believe that everyone should have a fair shake at everything. But there is some things I'm going to be taking a backseat. So if you guys don't hear too much from me on this topic, it's just because it's a smarter idea.
You can slow me down too, man. You're holding me back. I'm ready to throw not physical punches, metaphorical punches. This enrages me, really. So I actually first got wind of this story. Another streamer in bad taste was kind of doing a reveal all on Ferociously Steph's partner. So to keep that straight, Kyle opens Twitter. I see a streamer doing this lady by the name of Lizen La Vida. That's Ferociously Steph has a partner called Lizen La Vida on Twitter, at least. That's the name. Lizen La Vida was getting exposed because she got into drama and claimed at a TwitchCon competition or something of that sort that she came in second in this competition when in truth she actually came in 8th. So I was looking at this totally petty drama at first, but it came directly after or exactly in time with Ferociously Steph, our main character for tonight, being announced as being on this Twitch Advisory Council. So what gets hairy scary in this whole thing is that Lizen La Vida, Steph's partner, has some really nasty messages out there about her disliking of dyslexic people, which ties directly into what Steph is getting blasted for, which is that Steph thinks that voice chats disservice people. Disservices anyone that's not a cis white man is pretty much what she's come out to say. I mean, there's clips galore. You guys don't need to trust what I say. I mean, I would like you to, but you don't need to even. You can just go and you can hear it straight from her mouth and see the images that have been taken. It's a very drama-laden episode already, as you can see. So did that make sense so far, Nate? Let me just start at the beginning, because that's a thick... With these
it was it was pretty much a snowball of stuff that, I mean, when it rains, it pours, and it definitely poured on this household. That is for sure.
Yeah. So okay. So we got Liz, who is anti-dyslexic in her writings, who is partner to Steph again, who is now on the council. But also Liz is a Twitch ambassador. So again, this all gets very confusing if you're looking at it in a cursory view, like we taking with it. So apologies. I'll try and keep everything straight. But kind of the problem, the obvious problem that we can see, the obvious problem, I think, is we've got someone on a Twitch advisory council for safety that's making other people's lives unsafe, right? Like, I don't care. I mean this in a nice way. I don't care who out there has dyslexia. Why would I use that to discriminate against somebody is beyond me. Your reading comprehension doesn't mean anything, especially to us. We're podcasters, we're streamers. We don't need you to read. We're here to talk to you in your ear holes. So, I mean, just having someone that has those views or be in the same household as someone that has those views, especially like we are right now, quarantined together in the same room, clearly they jump in on each other's drama. So pardon if I don't separate out Liz from Steph's situation, because in my opinion, speaking as Kyle here, you endorse your partner. I mean, yeah, that's the idea of a partnership, right? A partnership. You work with someone. If they have bad views, you typically share them, and if you don't, maybe that's not the right partnership. But in this case, I had to look at these two as two eggs in the same basket, that this is just a whole snowball of bad thus far. This is not an avalanche I want to be caught up in. Should we talk about the voice chat anti-ness first, Nate? Where do you think we should hit from the cursory?
I do not know even where to start, because this is crazy. I mean, I guess I'll address one thing.
Yeah,
is like,
please.
I have dyslexia.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dyslexic. Like, I've been dyslexic since second grade. I got held back because of it. I was in all LD classes because it took me like 6 hours to complete a 2-hour homework assignment and stuff like that. So I've been in it the whole time. So it did hit me kind of hard, because I remember this was the first thing I heard. Like, I usually pay attention to Twitch drama, just very, very little, but I try to stay out of it because I'm trying to be like very positive and be in my own world, happy place where people can come and forget about the rest of the things. But when this was brought up, I was like, oh man, this is unbelievably terrible, man. I was like, why do you have a problem with someone that's dyslexic and can't read? And what I thought was crazy about it was I think their problem with it is that people use dyslexia as a crutch, is what I think that she was trying to like put out there. And I don't ever use it. It's just I am dyslexic, but it's something we really can't help. And sometimes when you like poke fun at someone for having dyslexia, they're like, oh, you're dyslexic, which is something that's thrown out there all the time. Sometimes it's like we do get fed up, especially if you are dyslexic and you're like, yeah, I am dyslexic. Like, I am, like, okay, like, you don't need to like poke fun or try to make me feel stupid when I've been told I've been stupid my whole entire life, because I can't. It takes me a little bit longer to process reading, or I flip words in my head. So that was the first thing I saw, and like that was the first thing. That pretty much covers all the base with that. So I thought that was very. At first, I was like, oh my god, that's crazy. And just today, I found out that this Lizen Laviva is the Twitch ambassador, because she is the Twitch ambassador. And Ferociously Steph is the Twitch Safety Advisory Council. So one's an ambassador, one's a council member. So they're not the same, but they are different. So I just realized today that that's what it is, which is scary to me, because in one of my partnership applications, you can put like, oh yeah, overcome dyslexia. It's like, if someone like that is reading my partnership out, is that like affect me in a way? And Twitch is like endorsing someone like this? Like, that's where I get a little skeptical about some of these things. That's where I got. I think the best way to start is what really fired all this off, which was the anti-voice chat topic.
Yeah, we're in agreement here. Yeah, so back to Steph, the council member. She has some very rubbernecking style clips out there. You know, you want to watch them. I want to watch them again and again, because I can't believe it. And in one of hers, she sets up these very strange arguments where anyone that's not a straight white male has a disadvantage in voice chat, and that means that voice chat should be taken away, because there's a competitive edge to being a straight white man in a voice chat. So, or I should be specific, a cis white man in a voice chat. So, as a guy that identifies as a white man that's gay, I will say there's definitely a lot of homophobia and racism in voice chats, and it's not okay. Like, I'm not here to validate those. I'm stating a fact, but this is exactly why I don't jump into public voice chats. Now, it's a in my opinion, though that is true, yes, there is a lot of aggressive and very bigoted tendencies in those, pretty much regardless of who you are. If they can find it out, they'll go after you. It's not okay. I'm not condoning that, but it's a wild leap to jump to all voice chat in certain games, at least, should just be deleted. And I found a lot of common ground with Steph because I often dive into deep conversations on my stream where I like to hold companies responsible. Now, sometimes I wonder, am I just being a bully at times, or am I coming at it with a realistic edge? Me personally, I'm a little bit fed up with some companies and just like the lack of handling of things. We pay for games and services, and Twitch is owned by Amazon. Jeff Bezos is how rich again? And, they're understaffed and they can't manage their moderation. I get very frustrated, to put it nicely and low-tempered. I get very frustrated at these companies when they have such glaring holes. And I could understand making an argument similar to that because just for the hell of it, I've done similar on my stream where I would say, and I have joked, Elder Scrolls Online, I've joked, not even so much a joke. I'm not a PvP man, but I've said, well, why don't we just get rid of the whole swath of the game? That'll serve server resources. Like, why don't we just kill it off? And I say it both to rile up chat and to, vent a little bit of frustration. But it is... what do I want to say? The way she went about this was not just venting frustration about a company who should be hiring focus groups and should be, putting money where resources need to be, but instead went after the wrong people in my mind. She went after cis white men. I don't believe that all trolls are cis white men. It's just statistically unlikely. I think everyone has the douchebag gene. I think it's what just makes us human, where we tell me you've never been cruel to anyone in your entire life and, I don't know, you deserve a gold medal or something. Like, come on, we snap, we're humans, and some people are most definitely bullies, but is the solution to go on a tirade that we need to get rid of voice chat so we don't have cis white men around anymore?
Yeah, it was, that was very, there was like a lot of comments from other broadcasters around the platform. Like Asmund Gold even said, he's like, if I were to say like X race is the reason why trollings happen, or it's this, he's like, he would be banned off that platform in a heartbeat if it was like, I believe all, whatever type of race or whatever sexuality, this is what is causing these problems. It'd be an instant ban for him. And he's like, it's crazy how like this person can be backed by Twitch and get away with all of this stuff. Like, and I agree with him. Like, I do agree with him in that thing. And I feel bad for like another council member, Co Carnage, because Co Carnage has been asked a lot about all these things that are happening, and they wanted to make it as a transparency thing. And there's a lot of people that are there, but the thing is when you do say those things, you gotta look at that. And I don't think Twitch knew that that's what was going to happen. I think Twitch like interviewed this person and was like, this person has it. And and it's just like with anything, as soon as people feel they have the power, they like to try to flip things, and then that's when the real person comes out. It's like, there was this thing in like relationships where it's like, once like a male or female thinks they have their partner on lockdown, if it be marriage, if it be dating for 6 weeks or whatever it is, even living together, that's when the real person comes out, because they feel like they have them on lock. And that's like some of the stuff that happened that we're going to be talking about here soon. But like I said, as a straight white male, like I really have to watch what I say, because I don't want anything to ever come out wrong, because like I said, I believe in equality. I want everyone to be happy as long as you're not hurting anyone or doing anything. I'm cool with that. But also it's like one of those things where I want the same type of respect and coming back to me as well too. And it's like, it's kind of one of those things where you're hindered just because you are a straight white male. But for them to say that it's voice chat, like I don't know what she's listened to or where she's getting her voice chat from. Even me being a straight white male, I don't even get voice chat. Like, why would I ever get in voice chat? And,
same.
like, I do Discord when I know people, but I won't like ever hop into a random or a chat and just start talking to people. But from what I've heard from like lobbies like Call of Duty, or any other lobbies that I'll mess around with when I play off broadcast, there's a wide range of people. Like, some people like don't even sound like straight white males. They sound like, they have like accents or different thing. And it's like, how are you gonna know that it's just straight white males that are doing this? It's almost like a targeting. Like, something happened to her that she's just super upset with people that are straight white males.
That's a good one. I think we should kind of tackle that for a second, because Mac in chat says, why is the LGBTQ plus community hate cis white men so much? Well, I'm not, as one person, allowed to speak on behalf of the entire community, but I will and say I don't think good members of the LGBT plus community do that. So you can hate me for these views, but it feels very vindictive to go after straight white men, for example. Like, that's, to me, a very buzzwordy thing these days that certain members of that community are really hung up on. Now, for some people, I don't want to make this podcast could be, but I don't want to make it into an entire like dissecting of the gay community and all that. I'm just calling it that for shorthand. But like, there is a lot of people in the community, whatever they identify as in any of the letters there, that have been more than likely bullied aggressively by your typical non-identifying people. I mean, let's face it. When kids are young and in school, there's a lot of bullying. I got by without any, if any. Like, I don't think I really got bullied once, luckily, but I wasn't really out and about with it. And I will say, I think that some people take that as that I think it's easy when you're in a minority group to look at anyone that has oppressed you as automatically the bad guy. Like myself, sorry to our Christian listeners out there, but because of where I grew up and because of how oppressive it was, and it was definitely used in the wrong way. It was wielded as a sword, not as a like love thy neighbor sort of thing. It was decapitate thy neighbor because they've done something that we don't think is Christian. You know, they manipulated it for their bad, and now I have a hard time kind of just dealing with it, because when I hear, oh, I'm Christian, I get the baggage that comes along with it. So in many ways, I can definitely understand. I myself never looked at it as like, oh, all straight people are the problem. I personally am in the opposite camp, where I think that the only people that really have power and agency in it are the people that are not the minority group. I have this stranger view, not so popular, but I always think that the repressed or oppressed people can't get over that hurdle until the other people lift them up. It sounds weird. Some people don't like it because they think it takes their agency away, but it tends to be how the world actually shakes out. That like, as soon as a big celebrity that's straight's like, oh, my best friend's gay or something, like that's a lot of what started to change the gay marriage conversation. So to, again, get us closer back on track here, it's not that the whole LGBT plus community hates white straight people. I do not at all, at least. But I know why some of them are hurt. Now, if they're using that hurt as fuel for a future war, like I think Steph did, that's wrong, because she's actually disenfranchising me, maybe even more than herself. So in that way, it puts that bad taste in someone's like Mac's mouth, where Mac's going, oh wow, do all LGBT plus people hate us as white straight folks? No, but someone definitely did just put a big target on the LGBT community because they came out saying such a thing. So I would say, at the very least, this inclusivity person, Advisory Council of Safety, did the least inclusive thing, remembering that inclusivity is holistic. You can't pick and choose. If you're saying you're inclusive and you really mean it, you don't get to say, I want Mac, I want Smarty in chat, and I don't want Nate because he's cis white and I don't care and he's got privileges that I don't. So screw him. But I've seen that, and a total different example was where I went to college, had an ebony ball, in air quotes, and it was exclusive to people of color. Now, I'm not here to take away anyone's thing, but it put a lot of friction on students at our campus because we were not in an area that looked upon people of color well. For anyone that knows me from my stream, I grew up in really, well, kind of pretty close to where Nate's living now. Not the same state, but backwoods as hell. And so for this college to be putting on this thing that put the black community in direct opposition, head to head with the white community, it leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth because we're not inclusive, we're diversive, we're divisive. Actually, I don't know what the word is there. We're cutting a line into the sand. We can't hang with you. You can't hang with us. That is segregation in that case. And in the same exact way, I tie it back to this. I know I'm making some logical leaps here, but bear with me, listeners. I think you can follow along. That in the same situation, now we have an LGBT plus member saying, well, I absolutely will not sit down with cis white men. They can't even come into voice chat with me. So you're not inclusive, you're exclusive. That's a problem for someone on the council because your heart's not in the right spot. You want to judge someone for being an asshole, do it. Do it. Judge them by their actions. But you can't judge every cis white person by the actions of a lot of idiots in voice chat.
Yeah, it's like there was like a situation that happened with me where, like, when I was living in Phoenix, Arizona, my motorcycle was stolen. Like, I bought a brand new motorcycle and 2 weeks later it was stolen, and it was by 2 illegal immigrants from Mexico. And I never once had ever held anger towards certain people of a certain race, because I think that certain people are bad, and it doesn't matter what color, sex, or anything you choose to pick. It just happens to, you're always going to have those bad people. You're going to have those bad eggs, but you can never go out there and just like do that, and then, or just like target just the whole race or whole like identification group. And it's a terrible thing. And I wholeheartedly believe what you said about the difference between the ebony ball and like a normal ball. Like, I feel like if we're going to get over these hurdles and try to do this, we should definitely have everything together and move forward in a way where we're not doing the exclusiveness. We need to have it all inclusive type of thing. So I agree with you, Kyle.
And chat seems to be on the same board. One saying, Check says, hello, how you doing? Is saying we all need to support each other as humans. With everything going on in the world at the moment, it's more important than ever to learn and look past the differences and embrace similarities. And I personally agree with that. That's kind of my stream philosophy is I don't expect you to be in my chat as a gay person. I don't expect you to be in my chat as a straight person. I honestly don't care. It really means very little. Like, I want to get to know you, but I don't really care about your partners or your skin color. I just want to know what you want to do in game tonight. Like, that's literally it. Are you here to have fun in my Twitch chat? Or are you here to be a dick? If you're the latter, move on. There's a lot of other streamers. It was interesting, and I want to bring this up because, again, keeping with this topic, the next clips that are very interesting to watch from Steph are her ranting about ranting. She gets up and sings and dances in front of a green screen, saying, and this is a quote like this. It's not exactly this, but my words are not far off. So almost verbatim air quote: "You can't get rid of me. Twitch endorses me," and fake air quote. I think we've all seen people. I've been in cases where I've been attacked by trolls. And they do ruffle your feathers. I mean, come on. Huge YouTubers, huge streamers. Like, everyone's had, like, that moment where a troll finally gets under their skin and hits at the exact wrong moment, and they say something they regret on stream. And a lot of the time, I would say, nothing I've said on stream has been bad, but I don't even like to bully trolls in reverse that much. I'm moving towards this motto of, like, just saying, no racism, ban. Like, gets the point across. There's no bloodshed. Getting up there and saying something like that, I'm assuming it looked like her chat was attacking her at the time, but saying, "You can't get rid of me, Twitch endorses me," and having such a title, being on this council, is a very disturbing abuse of power already. And I doubt her power's even clicked in yet. Like, I doubt she has full authorization to even go forward. Have they had a council meeting and she's out there doing this already? I don't know. But man, that scares me, that sort of powery, like, tripping nature there.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrified me for a long time. I mean, that, like, if you'd go back all the time, like, it's just terrifying, like, to have that mentality already, because that's when it goes back to it's vindictive. It's one of those things where it's like, I mean, like, especially if any of our, I mean, most of our listeners are from America and stuff, but we, with everything that's going on with us now, we have someone in power that's like that, and we see where it's going and all these directions and everything else, and it's just one of those things where it's not good to have something like that, where now it's like, then I feel bad because I think someone asked Carnage about it,
Hmm.
and Carnage, he just like he looks so like disappointed and sad because he believed this was going to be the best thing for Twitch. They're going to have transparency, they're going to represent the thing, and we're going to move forward, everything was going to be perfect. And he looked so sad about everything, like, and I could feel it, like I could feel it when he talked about it. So it's a rough, man, when you have stuff like that happen.
It really is. And maybe that's part of this takeaway too, is again, for as angry as I am, I don't want to get on here and just extremely bash ferociously Steph. I don't think this is the place for that. And I don't really want to be that person at the end of the day, no matter what. But I think the important takeaway is this is, well, it sounds so cynical in my head, but a lot of people are kind of sneaky like this. I think you kind of hinted at that earlier, that you don't really get to know a person's true self until, especially there's a Star Trek quote. I don't know if it started with Star Trek, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. And it is interesting. Like, I don't know if Ferociously Steph had this mentality before having power. I don't know if it came out when she had power. I want to believe in what you're saying, Nate, that Twitch did not know a lot about who she was going to become. And I really do believe what you're saying with Carnage there, that like he probably was looking at this like, this is going to be amazing. I'm so proud to be part of this. And Twitch is now probably facing a political issue here, so charged that the council may not be viable anymore already. Like, I don't know. I'm looking at it again in like a PR political kind of clout sense. Like, can this council produce quality work, or has it been so besmirched that it is already a ship that is way on fire and sinking, and there's just let it sink to the bottom of the sea? If that's the case, which I understand if they would make that move, that is a sad loss for all of us that is primarily pinnable on almost one person's back. I hope that's not the case. But, I mean, you and I play a game right now that launched to terrible applause, terrible boos, and it now has made such great leaps. And I was just playing Fallout 76, and I think they've turned that game around. So is it possible to steer something that's in this gaming space, in this Twitch space, is it possible to steer it into the light? Yes. But does it ever fully lose the blemishes and the damage it got from the thing? Well, no, because people still ask if ESO is a dead game, and why do you do this dog poop game for Twitch or for YouTube moderation's sake? We get those questions, and that's 6 years later after that game's launch. I'm using games as a comparison because they live in the same exact space. I don't know, man. Can this council be trusted even if she's terminated yesterday?
I think what the thing is I don't know how large her viewership is for Ferocious Steph, or how many follows she has or anything like that, but I never heard of her before like I have Carnage. So I'm going to say that she is probably a smaller broadcaster.
21.3K followers. Sorry, interjection.
Oh no, 21.3K, and then so yeah, I mean, I'd have to take a little bit in depth look, which I'm actually doing real quick right here. But the thing, what I think is going to be what I think's happening, and I know 20,000 follows. This sounds like an amazing feat that happens and stuff like that. But she was literally at a 72 average for the last year and a half or 2 years. So she was a large broadcaster, and then a larger broadcaster, but she's never had a peak over 200 viewers.
Okay.
So I think what it is she went from being a smaller broadcaster, and you got to think of it in Roman times, right? Like you're a small street peasant type person doing your things. So you're political, but you're in like the middle of nowhere, and then they bring you to the capital, like Game of Thrones style.
Yeah.
And they take you to the capital, and you're like, well, now you're coming from the north down to the capital, and we're gonna put this pin on you, and you're gonna be in charge of all this stuff. And you're literally having what happened with Ned Stark in Game of Thrones. You throw him into the situation where you're throwing him into a pit with, well, when I say him, I mean what's his name, but not Steph. But yeah, so you're throwing Steph into this pit where now she is in this light where she went from having 21,000 people that knew about her to now having 4.75 million, which is how many people are on Twitch that know who she is now, because she's now in that spotlight. I don't think she understood. I think she still thinks she was streaming to 63 people every day, and she didn't realize that now she is such in the spotlight that, and that's what I think happens with a lot of famous people as well too, is like they go from being these small little people to like being in the spotlight and everything microscoped and zoned in on them, and it broke them down, which is what happened with so many famous people. Kanye West had some issues with it, and Post Malone has like a lot of depression and stuff that's going on with him now, because he went from being, you know, kind of unknown to blowing up, and you know, all these other things. So I think that's exactly what actually happened with her going from getting onto this thing. And I think the reason why she got shoe-in to it was because her partner is a Twitch ambassador, and that's how she kind of got straight through to the top. And I think it was just a poor choice. And I think that Twitch wanted to find someone that's at about a 75 to 100 average viewership to represent the smaller broadcasters. And I say small, even though it's like it's large and it's a good feat to accomplish, but in the grand scheme of things, it is a pretty small
compared to
thing.
Co-Carnage. Yes. Co's representing the big,
like,
and she's representing the more. Yeah.
So I just don't think she was ready for her life to be put on a slide and slid under a microscope and be picked around. And I don't think a lot of us are. It's just like when you get that first raid for over 1,000 people, and you're like, oh, and you kind of get nervous and stuff until you get used to having those thousands of people every broadcast, is when you like kind of like realize how to deal with it. And I think that's what really happened. Like, this is me literally defending her in these things, but it's one of those things where you either sink or float. There's no in between, and you have one shot to get it right. And that's how the media, we are media, believe it or not. How media works is you have one shot. You can either handle the pressure or not handle the pressure. If you break, then that. And I think I really do think Twitch needs to look at it, but Twitch is going to be in the position where it's like, damned if they do, damned if they don't. But I do think that if someone's out there and they're saying these types of things and already seems like an abuse of power, and like they're going to go look through it and try to do this, but I do think potentially they may have to let her go and potentially find someone within like the 300 to 500 range that can handle a little bit more pressure than this.
I think you're very right. I'm left with many questions that I don't expect answers to. Again, I'd like to think Twitch did well here, but having an ambassador and a safety advisor council under the same roof, how many people out there in our audience have many of their family members on Twitch's staff? No one's raised their hand yet. Okay. Your whole family? That's right. Your whole entire, even your newborn is okay. They partner families. I see. No, it's very strange to have so many, like to have both of them under the roof. Like you said earlier, kind of a shoehorned in, maybe like a, not nepotism, but some synonymy kind of word like that, where I think there was some favoritism at play, like, which is bad because I mean, that means the whole council potentially, in its very iteration, its very root, was set up maybe for less than good means. Like, for example, to expound upon that, if the council was rooted in just picking favorites and playing favorites, is that really a good start to a council that's supposed to look at safety and be transparent? Because that's some shady, shady behavior. And if that's not why she got it, and someone saw her having this kind of behavior in chat and thought that she was the perfect representative for that, when she was already kind of having these rants and stuff like that, I'm not sure that was a wise decision either. And kind of something you just touched on, you know, damned if they do, damned if they don't. If they terminate her from this board, or this council, I should say, it may appear that Twitch is being anti-transgender sort of thing going on. Which in truth to me is not that at all. Like, from the LGBT plus community, I personally, Kyle, am giving my endorsement that she should probably not be there because, well, let me not beat around the bush. if she's going to share the values that it's okay to make fun of dyslexic people, that we should make these outrageous claims that are targeting one specific group of people, she does not belong in a diversity council, a safety council, whatever you want to call it. It's not the right person for the job. We are not all perfect for all jobs. However, you may elect me as your new president for life if you're interested. So, I'm stepping up to the plate for there. But anyway, aside from my political platform, it just seems really screwy that they would put someone on there that was so questionable, and I fear she may have really tarnished this. I hope she uses this time to better reflect on the situation and realize that not all cis white men are the enemy, and she should actually be spending all of her time making friends with that community instead, because people really like what's the saying, catch more flies with honey than vinegar, what I think that's how it goes.
Yeah, something like that. I always mess it up.
Me too. I'm terrible with all of these. I just make them up on the go. But it's serious though. Like, if I say, hey Nate, I love your content, I'd really love to game with you someday. Why don't we go play this game together? I'm sure you're a lot more likely to come and play that game with me instead of me coming into Nate's stream and going, Nate, I hate what you're doing. This is a terrible game. Not going to grow. You need to come play this other game with me.
See, what I do is I try to put because I am a straight white male, and I can kind of try to understand what a lot of people have to go through, but I have no clue because I've never been in that situation. And that's where it's like I'm very open to that's why I'm actually atheist. I don't believe in anything, and I have a lot of people that are in my chat that are that are religious, and we actually just had a conversation today about it. It's like people are from all around the world. People don't believe in the same religion. Like, we had literally a Christian, Muslim, Hindu, and all these other religions in there as well too. Different races, different everything, different backgrounds. But the thing is, what I do is I try to be so welcoming, and I try to put myself in other people's shoes with understanding a little bit, to the point where I'm very accepting of things. And it really helps me, because I never would and that's the thing is I put myself out there that if someone's open to talk to me about it, they can talk to me at any point, but I'm never going to try to fish it out. That's the thing is if someone wants to do it, I'm willing to listen to see what you're going through in your life. They can help me better understand what you're doing through. When we had that Muslim person in our chat, it was for Saudi Arabia, and they're like, yeah, I just wish more Americans didn't say Muslims as it was a country or region of the world, and realize that we are individuals that have our own religion, and that I'm from Saudi Arabia, but people automatically group me with the evil ISIS type stuff. And it's I understand where they're coming with it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. But that's why at least as a straight white male, or on the opposite side, I try to get an understanding of everyone. And if you're free to, if you want to ask me about it, or you want to tell me about it, I'm always there to listen, because that's just who I am. I put forth the effort to try to have that diversity in my chat.
That is absolutely key, I think. And in truth, I suppose we all should be spending more of our time doing less ridiculing, even if situations like that. That's why I didn't want to sit here and just bully Steph the entire time, because it's so easy. And please, after this, you're welcome to go watch your favorite YouTuber do it, because there's some nasty videos out there. Actually, I'm surprised. People aren't pulling, they're not being too mean. People, I've seen a lot of people, now whether, I can't speak to their personal beliefs, but a lot of them calling out, just like we did at the start. It's what gave me the inspiration. This isn't about someone being transgender or identifying as a deer. Those are the ones that the stupid trolls are going to pick on, because that's easy fodder. Like I said, mine is about, why do we have someone that's clearly demonstrated bad judgment on this board that is all about trying to get better judgment? I don't think much more needs to be said about that. Nate and I had some interesting spin-off questions, though, that might be maybe more appropriate for another week, but yeah. And I think we could have an entire conversation to something you were saying earlier about the amount of responsibility that is thrust on someone when they hit the public spotlight, because that is something seen day in, day out with nowadays primarily TikTokers. That's the hot career-making platform, might be the way to say it. People blow up overnight, and goodness knows if they're even 18 at the time when they blow up. So, there's a lot of content to be had around what, are you ready for that spotlight? I share an opinion, if you're on a public platform, you should always be ready for it, because you've entered a public arena. Look out. It's
Yeah, you really have. You entered the Thunderdome.
Yeah. It's like you might not get thundered today, but your dome's gonna get something tomorrow. I don't know. The point is, you just got to be ready. So as much as that is a really good excuse to make on her behalf, and I do appreciate what that brings. This to me doesn't seem like someone that's naive to it, so I'm a little bit nervous. Twitch, good luck to you guys, because I know it sounds like you set out with something well-intentioned, but I'm really worried for the future of where this goes. However, I will say, huge shout out to communities, like the people, we've got so many people out in our listenership through YouTube, through the podcast, that come by Nate and I stream, and they talk and they have these fantastic conversations. They've been building amazing communities out there with some people applying for partnership because of this stream. Good on you guys.
Good job.
I mean, it makes me very thankful that we have such level-headed and open groups out there. And I mean, I know we talked about Colin like a week ago or so, but I mean, he is killing it out there. And I was watching his stream the other day, and his community is fantastic. Like, he's built something to be really proud of out there. And I think that's probably what the listeners for our show are aiming for. I think, we've talked and we've been very nice about troll communities, and we've said, that's not our speed, but we know they exist and blah, blah, blah. But I'm, again, really proud of the people out there that are actually laying the inroads for true acceptance and, that we're actually all a human race and we all should be doing better in every way to make everyone else feel happy. Like, that's really what I think Twitch is good about, is like introducing people to lifestyles they've never known and showing that there's real people there. So please don't be dragging out walls or anything like that just to get some clicks on clips. It just makes everyone look worse for the wear. So that's about all I have to say on that entire firestorm. Thunderdome.
Yeah, it was something else. It was yeah, I mean, the thing is, and this is going to be my little take on just like because you're stepping in the spotlight, and it is when I streamed on the Bethesda channel, and I think I only had like 7,000 or 8,000 people watching at that point in time, which is like, I could have more. Like at that point I had like 1,200 people on my channel, my personal channel. But when you it's still different, it's still weird. So because like the thing is now you're open for like getting like picked on a lot more, because now instead of you having like 1,000 people watching, you have like 7,000, 8,000 people watching you. So it is one of those things where it is hard like to get nervous, and it's a lot they really get thrown in at that point in time. But you guys got it, man. It takes a little time to grow up, but it is one of those things where just be ready. You never know. Like, I mean, I was watching Twitch Creator Camp the other day, and they rated someone with 18,000 people that had 45 views, and that person was just like like I was like, this person was not ready for it. Like, I think they were not ready for it at all. So it is a very unique thing. But speaking about that, are we done with this topic?
I think so. I think the last reminder for people is just be careful what you put out there on the internet too. Like, the stuff that you put out there as a young content creator or not will stay around forever. I literally just watched a drama video about someone last night. Someone I was listening to as a YouTuber recently, and boy, I didn't know they had such radical views that, again, I think our communities would be scared of. And whether or not that content creator has actually moved on from those views, they still get flame videos that are legitimate. They are detailed, and they have a lot of money behind these flare videos. So be good. And I guess just put good out in the world. And if you have anything terrible to say about somebody, it just shouldn't be out there. So, all that good stuff. Continue, move on.
I think Dan's game, or your friend Dan's game, our friend Dan's
gaming, friend Dan
said something very awesome on Twitter. It was like, you don't ever have to bring down anyone in order to get ahead in life. Just to believe in your own content and you'll make it happen. And it's very true. Like, I mean, once I stopped focusing about everyone else and worrying about everyone else, that's when like my views went back up, because I got a little funk there for like 3 months. I went from like having like 3 months of like 100 average, and then I dipped down to under 65, and now we're over like 200 every single month again. So it's one of those things where you really do got to focus on your own type of content and what you want to deliver and stuff like that to make it happen.
I agree completely. And to wrap this week's up, I mean, do you want to talk about that? We were at 43-ish minutes, 46 minutes.
Let's talk about the emotes.
Yeah, let's get that in here.
Yeah. So I was scrolling through Twitter the other day, and I follow a guy named Cream, who's one of the late shift members. Fantastic broadcaster, been on the platform, has his own emote for global emotes and stuff. And he brought up a thing where people were talking about using, or like you going into like someone's chat and saying like hi, and then you spam your own emote in the chat as it's like self-promoting. And they were talking about if they think it's right that you should go into someone's chat and put like hi and then use your emote, this like a heart emote. Like you had the Louis heart one, Kyle, right?
Yeah.
Is that like if you go into someone's chat and say hi and put the Louis emote, would you do that? Is that like something you would do, or is it something you wouldn't do?
I'm very conscientious of this, actually. Now, that's not to say I never do it, but I do feel I come from the old school that I guess I am self-conscious enough that when I was first starting out, that bothered me when people would do it because I didn't have emotes yet. So it was like, oh, look at that person flashing their emotes at me. Like, haha, it just felt bad on that end of it. So now that I'm on the opposite end of it, I usually try not to, unless I really don't have a sub for their channel.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. Like if I go into someone's channel and I say, hey, I don't want to use mine. I actually use global emotes, or like I'll type in like, hey guys, or this. And the thing is, it's also that, and I also try to like, I actually never use my emotes in people's chats. Like when I go in, and like they're talking about how like it could be on the lines of self-promotion or not self-promotion. And there was like a whole bunch of drama around this topic, and which I don't know. Like I know a few people that literally do that all the time. Hey, and then all of a sudden the people that watch them will spam that emote in chat. It's almost like a dog pissing on a tree for dominance. It's like, hey, I'm gonna go into the chat and say hi with my emote and hope everyone does it, you know. And like I'm even conscious with like me and Ninja 614, who's another ESO broadcaster I talked about before. He's like, yeah, I've seen you lurking in my chat, but you never say hey, or you're always coming in. I appreciate you supporting. Why don't you ever say hey? I'm like, well, I don't like coming in and then people spamming my emotes in chat. Like it's really weird for me when I say hey. But then I know people that legit will go into your chat and put hey and then put their emote to try. Like it's a very weird and it's a very touchy thing. But I'm at a point where like I don't really care if people use emotes as long as it doesn't seem like they're doing it to try to show like, oh hey, I'm checking to see how many people are that are from my community in this channel right now. When I use this emote. And like I think it might be something to do with me being on Twitch for over 5 years and like watching, or six, actually I think I'm on like 6 years of actually being on this platform, only like 2.5 like actual streaming a year full time. But yeah, like I think it's one of those things, like the older you are and the longer you're in this type of thing, the more you're like reserved back and you're like okay with like people using it. But I just want to know what the thoughts of people were with emotes and stuff, just in case. And I wanted to fill up the little extra time we had here and get that drama out there. And but it was not as juicy as the other one.
Well, it's a deep question though, because I do remember this being tossed around even when I started back on Twitch, like first hearing a lot of this stuff. And you're right, I know who you're talking about, and it is interesting. Like you said, I think a great time to introduce. I say this, we talked about this forever ago in the podcast. I say to people, the best way to announce to another streamer that you are a streamer is to take your party of people and raid into them, because you are announcing to them that you're a streamer in literally the nicest way possible by sharing your community with them. That's a cool way to do it. That's also can be a fun way to introduce your emotes too, because that, raid calls, right? People do that. That in itself, I want to just make a small differentiation. I think raid calls are fine. Raid calls are great. I could care less what you post in the raid call because you did it's super nice. You raided me and you're putting your emotes and everyone's spamming them and having a good time. That is, though, very different than a more malicious approach where someone comes into your chat and is trying to solicit those people to spam their emotes as a kind of promotion wall. And regardless of intention, I think what the action does is it does effectively, if the audience is receptive to it, it does take the spotlight from the streamer that is streaming to now this person that has come into the chat. And that I kind of see as a fundamental truth. Like that is what is happening. It's not good or bad. That is just what's going on there. You can put your own. You can be bad about it. You can be happy about it. It doesn't matter. But in a way, they are stealing your spotlight.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things is like exactly what you said. Like I think the raid call emotes, and that's one thing is like people because I run that we help or I help run this like this podcast we do. People come in and like they're dying. They're waiting at the bit. They're like, come on, I want to tell them I'm a streamer. I want to tell them I'm a streamer. I want to tell them I'm a streamer. And like they'll whisper me and they're like all giddy and ready to tell me they're a streamer. Like I'm okay with
Yeah.
with you talking about your broadcast. Like if I'm like, or like if someone comes in like, hey, I watch your Path to Partner. Usually as soon as I hear that, I'm like, hey, well, what do you stream? Well, tell me about your broadcast and who you are as a person. And try to get like conversation like that. But like the best way to let people know you are a broadcaster or a real broadcaster is to share your community with their community. Raid on in. Do not host. Hosts are like a slap in the face. When I get a host, I literally look at a host and I'm like, okay, cool. Like this guy doesn't get a shout. Like, because it's almost like in their head they think if I host, then there's no way that person would click in and then go raid and follow and do the like. It's almost like it's a very shady way of doing it. Like I raid into everyone, doesn't matter what it is. Because one thing, especially with my new time, Kyle, that 10 o'clock start time, there's no one in. There's like people on before, but there's not really. Like I have no one to raid into me. Everything is me starting from square one and going all the way up to 200 viewers or 300 viewers, whatever it is. Like I am the beginning, and then I can drop my people off my raids wherever they need to go. So it's like one of those things. It's like, I mean, you got to be confident in your ability and your content to raid into people, but it is kind of a little slap in the face. But
I was talking to my mods about that because I was explaining to people why it's so rude to do the hosty host thing. Also, another great conversation for the future. Something that's been a huge uptick in our community. You and I talked about it very privately for a second, but man, is the ESO directory inundated with people embedding their views. Holy Twitch, we are on a whole other precipice there. But I noticed that people that do a lot of embedding they tend to do a lot of the hosting stuff because they don't want to, I don't know, shift that onto the player and move those eyeballs off. I don't know exactly, but it's a lot, like you said, it's a kind of a slap in the face. So rating, I think, is a great way to introduce communities. The question is, what are you introducing? Why do you want to share it? Because you want the streamer to know? Do you trying to steal the audience? Like, it really comes down to intention and how you handle yourself, right? Like, I love to get to know other streamers, but I've definitely been put off by people coming to my stream. And like I kind of come from a self-conscious angle of it. When I started streaming, I was a lot more than I am now, I think. Although I'm still very sensitive to people doing self-promo. That's not to say I don't like to meet new streamers, because last night we had people from the Path to Partner podcast in there asking all kinds of great questions. Like, can I ask you stuff? I'm like, absolutely. This is a place you could talk about your stream because we're having a good conversation. But I did get brought up in the really bad, brutal space of I've had many people in the past we've talked about before, buy raids from me through like gifting subs and donating.
Oh yeah.
Had people in my chat say, I'm going to start streaming too. You guys should go watch me. Like, I've had a ton of that in the early days when I was struggling to get above 30. Holy crap, was that a big black eye. It was just very, very rough. And we got a question in chat saying, how do you feel about people auto-hosting you? Do you want to answer that, Nate?
Auto hosting's perfectly fine, especially with the new way that the Twitch page is set up, which is live for most viewers right now, FYI. So even if you can't see it, some people it's live. Like I can't see it, but other people can see your video still and everything that's live. So if you haven't done it, like do it. But like on the bottom of the new page, it will literally show who's live and who's auto hosted and who I recommend and stuff like that. Hosting's perfectly fine. We're not talking about that. We're talking about like if you have a broadcast and you have like, say you have 30 people watching your channel, but no one's talking in there. So you're like, okay, well maybe if I host over with 30 people, like that's the stuff but if you're just like on auto host, or you're just going in and you're like, oh well, like Kyle's live, so /host Kyle Dempster Studio, and I press enter and it's like, oh well, it just says Gnarly Nate's hosting the channel now. That's fine. But we're talking about like if you have like 40 people in there or 60 people or whatever it is and hosting that way, it literally is almost like, it's kind of like we like as a broadcaster, especially a larger broadcaster's been in the game a little bit. We know it's like you're trying to like whatever viewers are in there, you're trying to hold on to them and hope that Tomorrow, when you fire up that stream, you have 15 people instead of, you know, the 40 and only 10 people left. Like, that's their whole thing, is they want to keep on to these lurkers and they don't want to lose that viewership. And that's not a real good way of going about it. And like, yeah, I mean, I honestly, I think they may do away with hosting here soon. I think they may just have normal host or the auto host list. I really don't know what they're going to do with it, because the way the new page is laid out, I think they took the actual, this person's streaming while this person's offline, I think they took that off.
I think they may have. So also to clarify for people, so we're backtracking a bit here. The reason we say actually using /host so-and-so's name is bad. And I want to clarify even the word bad here. It's poor etiquette these days to do /host, is because Twitch has really pumped a lot into /raid instead. It skips past ads and it sends the viewers directly to that person's chat. That means it comes across to any current streamer who is using /host, it feels like they're intentionally holding back, that it feels like a fake attempt to buy good faith or something like that, you know?
Exactly.
Hey, Nate, you can kind of have my people. And I wanted to add, I actually did a /host not that long ago, like in the last couple months, to feel it out, because I was like, why do people do this? Like, it was happening to me, and I'm like, why? What's the thing? It even felt kind of bad. Like, I knew I was doing it conscientiously as a test, but damn, it felt like I was really screwing that person over intentionally. Like, I'm like, I don't know that everyone, I'm not saying that everyone /host is doing it out of malice. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying now, as we move into this different landscape, that /host now is not what it was a year and a half ago. It is a different ball game. And with it, streamers that are in the know that that's not you really giving your community. That's like, hey guys, check out Nate for like an hour, but come on back to my stream. And a lot of people were confused too, man. They didn't realize now that it's changed, because you and I grew up when there wasn't a /raid. Nowadays, those people are still talking in my chat, because reminder, it doesn't move you out of my chat. If I /host Nate, he doesn't actually get those viewers in his thing. It's weird how it works. It's a mix in the middle. But if they are typing in that same chat box, it is my stream. So I was watching like a creepy observer, like, look at those people trying talking in my chat while I'm actually over here hanging out with this other streamer. And it gave me an idea. And I shouldn't paint it that everyone that does that is bad, because that's not true. But still, it's little, let's just say it's feeling old and outdated. Just /raid. Want to hit one more question this week too?
Yeah, might as well.
Sorry, finish your thought. You're going for something there.
Oh, no, I mean, it is one of those things. It's almost like people do it. Like, the people that have done it to me lately are people that would never raid me, ever. And I've seen them raid before. And I feel like it's like, and like I have like maybe like 230 people in my chat, and they're like, hey, Nate, it's good to see you. And I'm like, I feel like I'm like, hey, thanks for the host, man. I appreciate you. And I don't shout them out or anything, because I know that what people's intentions are. So I'm very skeptical about it. But yeah, just raid people.
Clerical Apathy threw in a great one too. He says, if you're passive /offline /viewing another streamer. So if I'm in Nate's chat and it's not my time in the day at all, I didn't just get done raiding, I just woke up, not even wearing pants, man. I'm in your stream. And I do /host. That's kind of a nice thing. I try and call those out as I see them, but I usually see a couple little chat lines fly by with that stuff on occasion, and I just don't think about it, because nowadays it doesn't even pop up in many of the alerts when you get a host like that. But yeah, what also Clerical adds is if you're actively streaming, just concluding your stream, raid it in. That's a better way to do it. Moving on, and also touching on what this podcast is about, which is surprisingly not Twitch drama. I got to meet Quinning Plays here on Twitch a couple days ago. Very fun person to hang out with. They messaged us saying, I plan on starting streaming very soon. I know come on, Quinning, you give yourself more than that. They say, I know no one will be watching unless I get lucky when I start. I've never spoken on camera, but I feel that I shouldn't be a problem. However, what should I talk about when there isn't anybody around to listen? Should I commentate on the game? Have random speaking points to get used to speaking? So first of all, I will say, I always think it's kind of good to set your expectations low when you start streaming. That way you're not like getting hit too rough when no one does show up or anything like that. That is totally normal when you're starting out streaming. You were building a house. You're at that moment building the foundation. No one's moving into a foundation. People, it takes a little time to get the rest of it going and moving in and all that. So, keep your head up on that one. It does take some time. But there's a really amazing question about the camera here, which I like. Nate, do you have any initial thoughts on this? What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, the huge thing is just the open-ended questions, figuring out. I mean, literally sometimes this. I was gonna say, I don't want. Please, I hope no one that watches my channels and your YouTube right now or something. Sometimes today we were talking about the universe and life and everything, and I went like 20 minutes without realizing I read chat. 20, 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes out. So I realized my girlfriend came in the chat and I flew past it, and I was talking about universe and life, and I was just rambling on and like. That's the thing is once you get to a point, you can start rambling and just talking about random stuff, open-ended questions so people can try to chime in and do it it is a technique. Like what I'll do is I'll go through my VODs, and if I have any point that I'm not talking, and I'm not talking about talking at 100 miles per hour, I'm just talking about just filling it up, talking normal, trying to do whatever. So I do that. So usually I'll start commentating the game, and then I'll start like talking about something or other, like make it seem like because the thing is when a new viewer comes in, they don't know that there was no one talking for the last 30 minutes.
Right.
So they'll come in and they think that you were talking to someone or having a conversation about something, and they'll chime in. And then you can start having a conversation with them. But it takes time for it to grow. But that's what I did originally at first. And then I remember my first stream was Assassin's Creed when I came back, Assassin's Creed Origin, and I was just talking, and I was like, oh my God, the lion's coming, just like about nothing at all. And it like out of nowhere, I went from 0 views to 7 average viewership in that month because I was just like talking to myself, and then one person would come in and chat. And like I'd have a couple conversations, but I'd go back to that so it looked like maybe I was having fun or talking to other people and stuff, and like tried to grow it that way.
Yeah, and I'll go from a weirdly opposite standpoint, which is because I stream the time of day where a lot of time zones are going to bed, right? Like because I do later night streams. And I kind of use this as whenever my chat gets quiet during one of those lulls, I actually use that as my abort button to be like, you need to go to bed, Kyle. You have been live. And I will look over and it'll be like 10 hours. And I'm like, okay, quiet chat means I should actually get my butt up out of this chair and stop having fun and like go to bed. So I will say when you're starting out, I think be conscious of your mental fatigue because it is something you're training yourself to do. So like I said, whenever my chat gets quiet these days with where I stand with streaming, I always take it as a moment of like, okay, now I need to rest. You're done for the night. Everyone's sleeping. Now it's time for you to go. So be conscientious of your own limitations at first starting out. It is a muscle you're training, basically. You're getting used to this whole process. So I always think the other thing is sometimes I have this habit, not much recently, I don't think, but I used to stream really late, long times. And when you're trying to fill all of that up forever, that can be, like I said, very mentally fatiguing. And I find that if you're really mentally fatigued, it's time to go to bed because, again, other people have more fun when you're recharged again. So I know that's maybe a little bit later on in the thing. I think between the two of us, we gave some really solid upfront advice and what happens when you get used to it advice. Just things to be wary of, so that you're always, because you always, I guess the moral story is you want to be on your A game when you're on Twitch.
I mean, I do 7 hours a day. I used to do 8 hours. Now I do 7 hours a day because of mental fatigue.
I feel you. I've been doing like again, it ties directly into this question. I've been doing a thing where I will go as long as I'm having a really exciting time. But often my signal to go to bed is I'm really hungry, or go to bed means log off a stream. I'm really hungry and I need to make food, or chat's getting quiet now and I don't really have anything else to say because I've been rambling for 9.5 hours already. Like, use those signposts to your strength when you get into that place. Like Nate said, I like that idea. Some days I go, you know what? I'm not super jazzed right now. Maybe chat's a little quiet. I'm going to take it easy night. I'm going to go watch some Netflix because that is a good way to take care of yourself and it gives you more content to talk about. So be good to yourselves, folks. Anything else, Nate? We're at Over an hour, like we predicted.
Yep, I figured that's what it was. No, I'm good. I believe in you guys. I really do. Be kind to each and every single person that comes in. Try to be nice. Try to just I don't even know. There's just so much that was in this that is very like a lot to take in, but I believe in you guys. You got this.
Yeah, and serious thank you to those that come by. You know, Quinning, good to meet you. Like, you guys are amazing. I had someone last night, and I apologize because right off the top of my head, I can't remember their name. But we had someone in there last night asking great questions, and it's just fantastic. So don't be shy. You know, honestly, another great way, I think this is another thing. Let's just give them the secret, Nate. If you are listening to this podcast and you're coming to our streams and you're like, well, how do I tell them that I'm a streamer too? You truly don't need to say much more than, hey, I love your podcast. Because that's what I get a lot is, hey, I love your podcast. I go, which one? The Path to Partner one? Heck yeah, man. I'm listening to it. I'm learning a lot. I'm implementing. And I'm like, you're a streamer, man. How you doing? What you streaming? It's that sort of thing. So just a sneaky trick into Nate and I's hearts and in our chat. Like, again, that's actually a good role to practice too. You know, if you're trying to make real connections on Twitch, it's, you know, you got to have some real foundation to make it on. You got to be there hanging out, having fun, doing that kind of stuff. So come on and say hi. We love it. We love it. We love answering people's questions. And honestly, this is one heck of a podcast. So thank you all for sending us these questions. Thank you, Twitch, for being laden with drama. So Nate and I always have something to talk about we found out it's like a 2-week thing now, right? Like,
it wholeheartedly, like it'll be mellow this next week and nothing will happen, and then 2 weeks later we're gonna get a whole shitstorm of it. It's gonna be great. So yeah,
that's amazing. Also, shout out to Snorlax's in chat. I said it's been helping my confidence while I started out streaming. Heck yeah, so glad to hear it. Mateo says I started streaming more often than I'm doing longer streams per your advice. Heck yeah, man. Be good to yourselves, everyone. Nate, why don't you tell the folks where they can find you over this next week here?
Perfect. Every single day besides Saturday, but you'll probably will find me on 7 days a week from here on for the next like 2 months. At gnarly_Nate, Twitch TV /gnarly_Nate, and you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, gnarly_Nate TTV. Yeah, I hope to see you. Come in, say hi. Hopefully I'll have that purple check mark here within the next podcast or so. So we'll see.
Hopefully to celebrate. And yes, myself over the next couple weeks here, it's going to be absolute mad. Nate and I are going to be burning the midnight oil on this one. So I am live Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So every day except Wednesday and Sunday. Actually, we're throwing in a Sunday stream coming up soon here. We're doing like a Patreon thing if anyone's interested in getting involved. It's going to be live on Twitch for everyone. We're not doing any sort of that boring exclusivity, but I'm letting patrons choose the game that we play on this upcoming Sunday. So that will be very, very fun. I look forward to that. But all people are welcome to join. And it's going to be a little weird Sunday night thing, but it's going to be crazy. I've been starting at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And like I said, Tuesday, if you want to see some crazy stuff, we got homepage on Twitch Tuesday the 26th at 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific time. So come on by. If you want to talk about the Path to Partner podcast, come before or after, because that is just going to be Graymore. What should I play?
Last year was, I literally said hi to you last year, and it was like, my comment was out in like a second. I was like, wow, this is really popping right now.
Yeah, so please don't be offended if Nate and I happen to miss it. We're just warning you now. That week, the directory is just going to be jam-packed full of people. It'll be great. We're not ignoring you, especially if you ask us a question about podcasting and stuff while I'm already explaining how a class system works in that game. Holy man. So apologies in advance. We're not ignoring anyone out there. We love you guys. Thank you for tuning in every other week as we put out these episodes. It has been fantastic. All of our links are in the show notes below, or well, I guess in the description below on YouTube and the show notes on your podcast player. So dive into those, take a look, join both of us on Twitter, join us. The Discord thing has been growing slowly. I admit I haven't been in there like poking and prodding, but we've got some amazing folks signing up in the Discord there. Discord.gg/KDS. We've got some podcasters that have come through. We got all kinds of cool stuff. I admit I haven't done anything major in there. Maybe we need to upcoming soon. But I actually started creating an art commission style channel in there so people could post, but I haven't done too much. So if we have any artists out there listening or friends of artists, they are welcome to go and they're welcome to post their art, their prices, like what they want to do. I do kind of want to make that into a mini hub for people that are looking to do this sort of stuff and just looking to meet others in the field. Finding an artist for your emotes can be a challenging thing when you're just getting started out and don't know who's who and all that jazz. So come on by, you guys. We'll love to see you. That's going to be it for this week, folks. We will be back, not next, but what's the date, Nate? Who knows? It is the 3rd.
Crack.
3rd?
Oh, yeah, the 3rd.
3rd of June. Wow.
Man, we are already halfway through this year.
Believe it.
It just got warm, man.
I just got my taxes done for the last year.
Oh, I know. Well, yeah. When is it? July is when they're due or something like that?
Yeah,
Or is
now
it
they
June?
pushed it back. I think it's July, but like I just got them done like a month ago, and I'm like, oh my god, my taxes are almost due again. So
yeah, I was about to turn
Twitch.
mine in and I didn't. So what I'm hoping is they're like, oh, you know what? Let's just forget about taxes this year for people that actually owe the government money.
I was
Please.
wondering that. I thought the same thing, but then I was like, I don't want to get dinged on some like the government, the federal has moved, but state hasn't. So I just didn't want to get screwed on anything like that, like one of those crossovers. I don't know if they exist or not, but like those are
I
two
don't
separate
either, but-
offices. So I have no, I just was like, whatever, tax guy, here it is. So that could be another interesting episode too. I know we've talked taxes, but when that season comes around, I chat with my tax guy about how I did them via Google Documents and stuff like that. And he really liked it. So every tax person's different, but we could talk about kind of how to do that best and whatever else there. So anyway, lots to discuss in the future. If you guys have ideas, patthepartner@gmail.com. Send us your thoughts. We will love to hear them. Everyone out there, thank you for listening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye. Okay, chat. Thank you all for hanging out with us. You guys have been awesome today. I apologize that we didn't have a lot of time to like poke in there and read these questions per se, but holy crap, was that a jam-packed episode?
Yeah, there's a lot going on and a lot of stuff that's definitely forcing Twitch in a very awkward situation. So I'm glad we did talk about it, but there's only so much I can really weigh in upon.
Oh my gosh, you did great, honestly. And even me, I will probably get flack from someone out there being like, Kyle, rah. The one we did gloss over, but I will say it here now that we're kind of off air, was I presented an interesting question, at least I think it is, to Nate earlier, which was with Steph. She had a deergasm on stream, and I asked a real question, which is that appropriate? And I didn't want to add to this episode because I thought that might come across as just bullying and, you know, picking on somebody. But at the same time, it is that question of like, if I have an orgasm on stream, I'm going to get TOS the hell out of here. But like, man, I got some good spin-off questions. And either way, I just don't want to make anyone feel bad. That's not the intention. It's just genuine concern I have. Not for one individual, but the whole. I'm like Spock.
Yeah.
I'm like Spock.
Yeah. All right.
Okay,
we're
Chad.
good.
Let's,
All right, I say we get off of here.
let's
All
do
right,
it.
Before
Love you all.
anything.
Be good. Before anything. Have